Back. We're announcing the third Love Loud Festival. It's going to take place at a different place this year. We're going to be out at USANA, switching things up a little bit.
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons why. So this is the third year. This is the first year that I really feel that Love Loud is kind of spreading its wings and flying on its own. First 2 years, Imagine Dragons, it kind of was on the back of Imagine Dragons, and this year we're really diversifying the lineup, and so a new venue was fitting, and I'm more excited for this year, I think, than any year, because it feels very independent. It feels like Love Loud now has a brand, an identity, which was our goal, to help LGBTQ kids have something that they can just reference in the area, feel like it's a safe zone, and so. Yeah, I'm really excited for this year.
Okay, let's talk about some of the people who are coming.
Yes.
Kesha, let's talk about Kesha.
Kesha, who's a good friend and is an amazing individual. I'm sure a lot of people have seen, the events that she's gone through over the past few years and how courageous she is. She's been an incredible ally, and so yeah, I just was talking to her and said, hey, would you be interested in this? I knew that she was already involved with a lot of philanthropic things because we have this. We're also involved with the Tyler Robinson Foundation, which is a pediatric cancer foundation the band started many years back, and she would come to the gala and contribute. And so I thought, well, why not get her to help with this too, and she was all about it. So she jumped on board, Tegan and Sarah. Tegan has been on the board with Love Loud. So
finally, we're going to get to see them play.
Exactly, now we get to see them play, which I'm a huge fan, so I'm super excited about that. Laura Jane Grace, who is incredible. I'm so excited for her to come and perform. Kay Flay, Dea, Paris, who am I forgetting?
Let's see, Martin.
Oh yeah, Martin Garrick. I'm going to do a solo performance, so I'm still going to go up and perform and invite some friends to perform with me as well. So it's a more diverse lineup, and I think that it kind of is more symbolic of what Love Loud is, which is it's about diversity, it's about representation of the LGBTQ community.
Well, and again, it also stretches beyond that, I think, as well. I think obviously the focus is on the LGBT community, but I think what we're all pushing forward is an acceptance of whoever you might be.
Yes.
And so I think that we're maybe in a position where we can start saying that as well.
I like that. And yes, I think, one of the things I was talking about that I think Love Loud should symbolize in so many ways is people were skeptical that, people from the far right, far left could come together and show their support for just our youth, period. That people could agree to just come together and say, you know what, we have a problem with suicide, we have a problem with depression, anxiety, people feeling like they aren't accepted. And they did come together, and it shows that Utah is a much more accepting, loving, progressive place than I think people realize. There's not a lot of other places in the US that are doing anything like this that desperately need it. Love Loud is needed in more places than Utah, but I think that this is a great representation of what needs to happen in other states.
I've talked to people who are in other states who have said, we really need something like this, particularly a lot of the states in the South.
Yes.
Had a lot of friends who said, is this something that we could eventually get? Is there any idea about maybe expanding, or is that a little too far down the line?
No, we certainly, we've expanded our board this year, and we're getting more organized and strategic about things. We absolutely have a goal to bring this to every place that needs it. So all along the Bible Belt, places of Orthodox communities that really these kids need us. They need to know that they are loved and accepted. Our focus has been to do it right in Utah and to get it to a point where we understand it. And so this is kind of our testing ground to say this is the way to do it. We need to do, we learned so many lessons last year about how we need to have more gender-neutral bathrooms. We need our volunteers to be trained better. We need a more diverse lineup. So we're learning these things that are really important along the way. And I think, learning how to get the government involved, learning how to get church leaders involved. How do you get all these people to come together and say, hey, we can agree on these things. So once we figured that out, which I think we're getting there, then absolutely we want to bring this to as many places as we can.
So this is the third year. You set out to have a goal of bringing a lot of people together. I think one of the things that I have found talking to people based on my own experiences with my father and whatnot is that they seem there's a lot of people who are just looking for permission to love. It's almost as if they say, is it okay if I love my son?
Right.
And it's like, yeah, it's fine. And once they have that, I think that it's kind of a weird, because it's like you're asking me if it's your son, love your daughter. But it's been something that I've run into over the past couple of years, where it just seems like there's a lot of people who just want someone to tell them it's okay to love your kid, regardless of their gender or their sexuality.
It's you would think it's a very basic thing, but it is a conflict that these families are faced with. These parents, when they have a child that comes out to them, they don't know what to do, especially in a very faith-based household. They think, well, these are the things we're being taught. This is our child. We love our child. But how do I love my faith and love my child? And so what we're trying to do is educate these parents to that situation and say, listen, put everything aside and let's just talk very basic. Right now your child just came out to you. If you do not accept them and give them undivided love and acceptance, they're 8 times more likely to take their life. That statistic alone, if we all just look at that from a basic human level, we can all say, look, I'm a parent, I have 3 little girls. I would do anything for them. That's how most parents are. We all talk and say how much we love our kids. So if they scratch their knee, you're devastated. So 8 times more likely to take their lives. Well, what are you gonna do then? You're going to accept them. That is just a basic thing we all need to understand. And then from there are ways to navigate still having your faith, and we respect that. I understand that. I have my faith, so I get it. But there's ways to have your faith and also absolutely accept, love, cherish, celebrate your LGBTQ child.
Well, I think, and the thing is we, in religion, we're often talked about, if you have a rebellious child, it's not to reject them. It's to take them in and learn to understand them. And
Yes.
I think this is not exactly the same sort of thing, because they're not rebelling in the sense that they're making a decision on.
They're just being themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that there's a culture that we've grown up with in the LDS church and whatnot, where if you don't fit the mold,
If you don't understand it,
there's something, and it's really hard for some people in the church to fit into the church, even if their beliefs fit in there. And I think that for me it shouldn't be a progressive thought, but it kind of is.
Yeah. We fear what we do not know, and we stigmatize what we don't talk about enough. And so our goal with Love Loud is to talk about this so much, to make it such a prevalent thing in the household, that there comes a day when a child doesn't even need to come out. It's so just a part of life that it's not this big scary experience where this child is holding this secret because they're so afraid of who they are. That's unchangeable, which they should never fear. Nobody should ever fear, telling the world that my eyes are blue. It's unchangeable. It's a fact of me. So what, do I walk around every day with my eyes closed? No. So it needs to be that normal, that these kids don't feel like a fear of who they are. And for anybody who thinks that it's a choice, it's just a lack of education. It's as simple as that. Even the Orthodox faiths now agree on that. Whereas a decade ago, these faiths were saying, listen, it's a choice. The research is just, it's there. It's done. It's not a choice. We can all accept that. So where do we go from there?
I think we had a setback here in Utah. It looks like we were going to have a great victory with the conversion therapy. I think the fact that we're even talking about conversion therapy as a terrible, horrible thing at this point is a result of Love Loud. And because as people come out, as people get to know people who are gay or bisexual or whatnot, I think they start to see the humanity in them, and you stop. It's a lot harder to hate a person than it is attack. And I think that we've seen a lot of progress even. I think there's more progress being made in the culture right now than in the politicians. I think the politicians are actually a couple steps behind.
Yeah.